Renaissance Shooting, all is well, and all is in divine order. Maybe we'll all stand. We ready to go? I'm excited about this morning. For some reason, there's something exciting about this morning. And so I went out to my garage. I saw a suit. And I put it on. John, Michael, I didn't bother to shower. And I found a shirt handy. And so I put it on. Didn't have time to put it in the wash machine. So here I am. The question is, can you accept me as I am? Can you accept you as you are? So if we can go through this service, Ruth, and you can just accept me for what I am. I am that I am.
I am that you, whoever you are.
Spring forward. Can we say spring forward? Spring forward. Spring forward. And ascend. Up. Repeat after me. I awaken to divine possibilities beyond what my eyes can see. I am stepping out of the past, rising into my highest self, and ready, really ready, really ready to receive what has been prepared for me. Somebody say, I'm ready to spring forward. You may be seated.
I wanted a chance, I just couldn't believe it. I wanted a chance. I was looking too long. No news, no vision, no. No one. Searching too long. Like Reverend Glenn's suit over there. Staying right here. Searching but not finding. Gotta look for the place I belong. Searching. Ooh, searching.
All right. Family, this morning, we lost an hour of sleep. Do you feel it? Yeah. You do. But some of us have been losing time for a long part of our lives. The message last night was, be prepared to spring forward. Can we say spring forward? We have been in a time zone for days and weeks and months, and now we moved to daylight saving time. And this is the first Sunday of Lent. But it's time to move. It's time to spring forward. Are you ready to spring forward? Problem is, most of us, for some reason, we keep treating the past like it's the present, like it's the now. And we keep making these illusions of the past being the present, the now. Can anybody relate to that? It seems like what happened yesterday is happening right now. Same old, different day. We've been calling our delays, our false starts, our unsustained efforts to change grief, haunted by ghosts of the past. But, can we say but? We let our but be bigger than our belief. We let our but be bigger than our surrender. We let our but be louder than Christ's voice whispering, spring forward. Now, I'm not going to ask anybody in here if you're working with a big butt. But I will say, will you stop? I'm looking for a level of maturity from you as a seasoned saint. But that but signifies that it's time for breaking unhealthy ties. Breaking unhealthy ties. Has anybody ever been tied to something too long? And that tie has a bond that's so strong that it seems like it's unbreakable. Breaking unhealthy ties. We keep repeating the cycles, and we expect something to be different. But what is that definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over, expecting the results to be different. So here we are, on a journey, 40 days into the Lent season, the time of resurrection, renewal, reviving, a reconstitution of self. And I just recently read the Unity publication called In the Garden. Anybody ever read that? Are you reading that now? It's on the table outside in the reception area. In the garden. Each day of the 40-day Lent season, it focuses on something we need to release and let go. Is that right? If you peeked inside of it, read some of it, it constantly says for every day, release something and let it go. Can we say release and let it go? It's a good read, but I want to veer off the course just a little bit. If you give me permission just to veer off the course for just a second, can I do that? Do I have your permission? You won't call Unity Village and say, he flipped the switch on us. He went in a different direction. You promise? You won't text him? You won't tweet him? You say, we'll see. Maybe. I say it's a good read. They recorded me too. I did. I say it's a good read. But instead of us focusing on the things we need to release and let go, can we just focus squarely, totally, on our release of the revealing and the demonstration of our divine power? Can we do that? Just focus totally on our divine power. Now, this takes us away from this ideology of a deficit scenario where I need to spend time releasing and letting go of so many things. so many negative attributes about myself, so many negative characteristics about myself, so many negative behaviors about myself. Moving away from that narrative that I'm working from a deficiency, a deficient state of mind. You get it? Not yet. You don't get it just yet. Not yet, Michael. But this deficient state of mind. I gave you an inside scoop on it a couple services ago, where most of the books you read have to do with this deficit mentality. I'm starting off less than worthy. I'm starting off 2 steps back. I'm starting off with so many things wrong with me. I'm starting off with a past that's so dark that I can't see a glimpse of light. But what if we just said, for 40 days, I want to focus on my divine power and revealing it. And because I'm revealing it, I'm demonstrating and I'm manifesting things in a miraculous way. What if we did that for 40 days? What if we didn't focus on the things that make us feel unworthy of stepping forward, unworthy of seeing the miracle, unworthy of manifesting the things that we want? What if I turned my attention away from the so-called flawed me? What if I turned my attention away from all the things that I've done wrong? What if I turned my attention away from all the scenarios where I was not being the good shepherd? Could we do that? Could we do that? Could you join me on that kind of journey that would break the pattern? Lent season is about preparation. It's a season of release before the resurrection. And all of us want to be resurrected to a higher level. Now let me be empathetic and sympathetic for a moment. So I want to be able to show you that I can be empathetic and sympathetic. Let me lean in and say, are you okay? Is everything all right, Reverend? It's okay. I understand what you're going through. I understand that you have a butt. I understand that butt sometimes get in the way. I understand that that butt sometimes keeps you tethered to the past. I understand that sometimes your butt sounds light, but it still bothers me. But it still hurts. But I still can't get over it. But I still just can't stop thinking about it. Anybody have any of those butts? But I just can't move beyond the situation that was at hand that seems like it's at hand right now. But I just can't stop thinking about it. But I just can't get it out of my mind. And so there I am, sitting. But today, we're here to move away from the butt. We're breaking unhealthy habits. Can we say that together? I'm breaking unhealthy habits. Now, the now is for you too. Now here's the situation. We spent too much time in the butt. And we know that now, right? If you didn't know it, now you know. And can you look at somebody and say, if you didn't know, now you know. If you didn't know, now you know. And so here we are. We spent too much time in the butt, but we need to move forward, right? But it wouldn't be a good ministry, Michael, if I didn't have a solution to the problem. This is a solution-oriented ministry. You can't just lay a bunch of stuff on you like that, heavy stuff on you, and then just walk away. And say, figure it out. The audacity of me to contemplate. Dropping something on you and not giving you a solution. A lot of nerve. Not to give you a strategy, a playbook. Even the Lions have a playbook. They know what to do in certain scenarios, certain situations. It's 3rd down and 1. What are we going to do? Quarterback sneak? Trick play? Pass? Run off tackle? Throw the bomb? But what do we do in this scenario? Well, we know we've been in that scenario where our butt's been bigger than our power, but here we are in the Lent season. We have 40 days for transformation, 40 days to decide I want something better, 40 days to decide what I've seen in the past can't come to the future with me. Well, I got a friend. Say, he's got a friend. I have a friend. I know a guy named Dana Smith. And Dana wrote a poem called I Am Becoming in the Now. I am becoming in the now. And it's something that's stuck with me for years. And here it goes. Can you read it with me? The past, let's get in that past mindset. The past may knock but it holds no key. Only the Christ within may dwell in me. No longer will I carry the weight of before. For I am becoming in the now even more. I fast from doubt. I feast on light, on love, on truth, on spirit sight. Breakthrough is now. Not in the fight. Not in the grief. Not in the night. The Christ in me is never delayed. Love lights the way. My path now laid. I am becoming in the now. I rise and see, not just to seek, but for me to be free, to live life free. Now just let that marinate. Like a good steak is being marinated. Think about what it means. There's a quote that I love, and it goes, "To enter the wilderness of Lent is to step into the sacred space where the ego dissolves, the heart expands, and the soul learns to hear the whispers of the divine." It's Charles Fillmore. Interesting quote. To enter the wilderness of Lent is to step into the sacred space where the ego dissolves. What is it about the ego that must dissolve? The ego is the but. The ego is the but. The ego is the barrier. The ego is the obstacle, because the ego won't allow us to move from the space where something had us veer off course. Do you see it? All those things that are part of the but are part of the ego. And the ego won't let me go to a higher place, because the ego may be a space where I need to call for help. The ego may be a place where my knowledge, my skills base doesn't allow me to move to the next level of living, of life. The ego must be resolved as an issue, because if we can't get past the ego, it won't allow us to go forward. Do you see that? Not yet. To enter the wilderness of the Lent is to step into the sacred space where the ego dissolves. What is the wilderness? What is the wilderness? A place of potentiality. It's also the place where the unknown. The ego is very special, because what happens in that ego when we take it into the wilderness? Get scared. It's an unfamiliar place. It's an uncomfortable place. The problem with most of us is that we hold on to our ego and we won't enter into that unfamiliar, that uncomfortable place. Because once we enter into the wilderness, we began to know no longer are we the person that we were, but not yet the person who we want to be. It's where the old habits are broken down, but the new habits haven't been formed yet. It's where what used to work doesn't work anymore, and what will work hasn't appeared yet. How is that for a dilemma? You're in a situation where you're right here, right dab in the middle, and you have the choice. You can either fall back or spring forward. But if you spring forward, it's uncomfortable. It's unfamiliar. It's unknown. You ever been in that situation where you're standing right there on the line and you have a choice? Will you step back or will you spring forward? That's the question that life asks us every day. Hold on to the familiar or spring forward with the confidence of I hear a whisper in the wilderness, and the whisper is saying move forward. We want resurrection, but we don't want release. We want the promise, but we don't want the process. We want God to make things new while we hold on to old things. Is that you this morning? It's me. It's me. I want to hold on tight to the familiar until I'm good and darn sure you got something better for me. Is that you? That's me. I've held on to this suit now for 16 years. Where's my best friend Stuart? We had some suits made when we didn't have it going on, but we had some suits made. And I'm thinking, maybe I should just hold it on. Hold on to it. Hold on just a little while longer. Hold on just a little while longer. That's the song we keep singing. But then something happened. I made a decision 2 Lent seasons ago that I wanted to enter into a transformation, a mental, physical, and financial transformation. And so part of that was cleaning up, throwing away things. Out of the cupboards you go, out of the refrigerator you go, out of my supplement cabinet you go. If it doesn't serve the greater me that's trying to emerge. And I began to lose weight, more and more weight. And then last year I really hit my stride and really started taking the weight off and some muscle off too. And then I'm still deciding what to give away and what to keep. You ever been in that situation where you say, I'm not going back, but I want to hold on to this? And Leah's constantly telling me, well, you give that stuff away. And so I gave away some, but then I put some in the garage. I said, well, she ain't going to look out there. She ain't going to look out there so it's safe. Lo and behold, I'm giving a message this morning about resurrection, renewal, reviving, being the best you, and I'm still holding on to stuff. I said, what would happen if I wore that suit? Does it look good? It still look tailored, Stewart? A different man. Y'all hard on a brother. But doesn't this kind of remind you of Lazarus? Y'all remember Lazarus? There's not a lot in the Bible about Lazarus, but there is a passage about Lazarus. Lazarus was a friend of Jesus, the brother of Mary and Martha, right? We know the story. Lazarus appeared to have died. They made the call to Jesus. Your friend needs you. Come right away. You remember the story, Dr. Bombay, come right away. Remember that story? Bewitched. But he delayed it. He didn't come for 4 days. How is that for a friend? A friend in need and you don't show up in a timely fashion. So he arrives and, of course, we know the story. Lazarus is dead in the tomb. At this point, his sister says, well, you're late. By now, he stinks. What does Jesus do? Did he raise him? Got him up? Well, no, he didn't. He didn't raise him. He didn't get him up. He went to the tomb and he said, Lazarus, come forth. Can you say, Lazarus? Come forth. Lazarus got up and walked out of that tomb. But Lazarus came out of that tomb from a resurrection experience, but he had on the same old clothes. They were dirty, stains all in his shirt, clothes wrinkled. Didn't fit him, but he's wearing the same old clothes. Transformation occurred. Reverend, he's wearing the same old clothes. Don't fit him, but he's wearing the same old clothes. You ever go through a process where you want to change, you feel like you've changed, but then people look at you and they hear your words and it's the same old boss. Wearing the same old style, same clothes, speaking the same way. So how do we know that a resurrection occurred? You see, what puzzled me about this message was, I'm saying Lazarus went through a resurrection experience. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Can you say spoiler alert? Spoiler alert. Jesus went through a resurrection experience. But I'm like, okay, I'm looking all over, I'm reading, and it took me like 3 weeks to try to come up with this. Because I want to give you a solution. Because we're going through this process, this Lent season, where we keep saying resurrection, renewal, revival. But Lazarus went through this resurrection experience, Daisy, and Jesus went through this resurrection experience. But how come, can y'all say how come? How come when Jesus was resurrected and left the tomb, no one recognized him? He looked different. He sounded different. So I'm asking myself, well, what's the difference? They both went through a resurrection experience. Don't they both supposed to come out different? Unrecognizable? Not the same? But there it is. when you compare the two stories, Jesus got up from the tomb, walking and talking with people who knew him, disciples, kinfolks, and they didn't recognize him. Didn't recognize his look, didn't recognize his clothes, didn't recognize his words. So what made the difference? How can you tell me that two people can go through the same experience and come out different? So are you telling me that if you enter that tomb with self-doubt, if you enter that tomb with fear and hesitation, if you enter that tomb attached to old relationships, old habits, and old way of thinking, you're going to come out the same? Isn't that preposterous? What if we go through 40 days, Renita, and come out the same? Knowing more, but acting the same. Wouldn't that be a tragedy? The suspense of this 40-day period, this journey, is will you come out different than when you entered it? That's the suspense. That's what I want to pay to get a ticket to see on the big screen. How did Ruth emerge after 40 days? Out of 40 days experience the journey, how did Harold rise up from his old wicked ways? How did he rise up from poverty to something greater? How did he change his mindset, his words that became more powerful? So you're telling me, shifting gears, that Lazarus went through this experience of a resurrection and then came out the same? So does that mean that you can be resurrected but still restricted? Does it mean you can be alive and still attached to dead things? Does it mean that you can be called forward but still carry the past, even through the resurrection? It was funny. When Lazarus was called forward and Jesus knew that he had on the same old clothes, he said, loose him. Loose him. You remember that? He said, loose him and let him go. He gave the command, but what didn't happen? The ownership of the situation, the ownership of your own life, the ownership of doing what you need to do, the ownership of saying what you need to say. Your words have power. But in this scenario, Lazarus didn't say, loose me and let me go. You see it? Power is in the spoken word. But Lazarus didn't say, loose me and let me go. I would have been raising my hand. You say, you heard Jesus. Loose me and let me go. I'm tired of being bound. I'm tired of being chained. I'm tired of being held back. I'm tired of being broke. I'm tired of being bothered. I'm tired of being bitter. Loose me and let me go. So here we are. We got to still work with the but, because I still feel like people are still out there with a big butt. So what we going to do with the butt? Ask somebody next to you, what you going to do with the butt? What you going to do with your big butt? Ask him that. Here's what we're going to do with your big butt or your little butt. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to change that butt. We're going to change it, and we're going to say, I need a new system of believing, understanding, and trusting. Can we say that? I need a new system of believing, of understanding, of trusting. I need to believe that transformation is possible. I need to understand that real change requires release and letting go. I need to trust that God is leading us, which is the me, into something greater. I'm coming out. And this time I'm coming out of the tomb, I'm coming out of darkness, and I'm intentional. Move out of my way. Move, release, and let me go. I've chosen to move in a different direction. And so this is solution-oriented TV, y'all. So I got to give you a commercial, right? It wouldn't be right if I didn't offer you something for $19.99 and guarantee it will work if you work it for the 40 days of Lent. And so here we go. Practice, can you say practice? What I preach. Practice what I preach. And I'm preaching, the but is believe, understand, and trust. May we all rise. You can't get anywhere new if you're tethered to the past. A lot of things that we're experiencing have a big bark, but no bite. It's just like that time you go down the street and there's that big German Shepherd. And it's got you so scared, so terrorized by the bark that you'd rather take another street. It's got you so terrorized that you go to the other side of the street if you have to go down that street. But as you get closer to that barking dog, you realize that it's on a chain. And so you say to yourself, oh, that wasn't nothing. You mean you've been doing all that terrorizing of me, and you're on the chain. In other words, there's a hedge around you. There's a hedge of protection all around you. And so fear is just an illusion. It's an illusionary experience that we face too often. Too often, we think of the worst case scenario. And then when we get to the scenario, that wasn't so bad. I told you, Leah, Brett, Stewart made me go to the doctor a couple of weeks, and I'm just taking all these tests. Hadn't been to a real doctor in years. I'm used to going to those doctors where you say, well, cough, and what you want me to prescribe for you. I went through all these tests, and I'm just living in fear. I know at 61, they're going to find something. I ain't been to the doctor now in 30 years. And so I'm waiting for these tests, and now that, they got it online, everything, your test results, appear in this portal. I'm not trying not to tell Leah until I know that things are copacetic. And so I get the first test, and it say negative. Second test, negative. Third test, negative. I said, I'm a negative kind of guy. But I'm feeling positive. But the fear that I had built up for a long time about doctors and not trusting doctors, not trusting that could be the outcome, there I was. So sometimes the bark is loud. It's not even a bite that we'll experience. Can we say an affirmation? Repeat after me. I am no longer bound by what was The stone is rolled away. My limitations are loosed, and I step boldly into the divine future prepared for me. My past is behind me. My faith is before me. And I move my butt into new belief, new understanding, and new trusting. I have resurrected power. And so it is. Just look at the person next to you, point at them. But your butt is getting better. Renaissance Shooting, thanks for having me this morning. God bless each and every one of you.